The consequence of knowing you're ready for more is that you have to begin. I want to talk about the art of beginning again. For there are times in our lives when the stagnation at the end of a cycle is finally disturbed by a sense of will calling for a new life. Starting something new is a skill. It isn't easy to take something from your mind and give it life. But I have come to learn that the art of beginning is to start with what you've got. You have to decide what it is that you want and then go from there, because there's always a step you can take before anyone or anything will come in to validate your vision for you. It's definitely terrifying to begin when you don't have all of the information or tools, but there are some things you will never know until you start. No book or mentor can teach you what cold hard experience can. So no, you don't need to have all of the answers or confidence or information. Just start somewhere. As cliche as it sounds, it is also honest. A lot of the blessings that I gratefully have today, I only have them and they've only materialized because I started somewhere with uncertainty. You have to surrender to the outcome because you have no control over it. If anything, now that I'm going through my Saturn return, I am more enthusiastic about life being out of my control. I love that my manifestations materialize with a twist. I know that ultimately I could never perfectly curate an interestingly delicious and nuanced life all by myself. Try as I might, I need the world of wills to engage me. I need my seasons of unrelenting grind just as much as I need my seasons of uncertain standstills. Otherwise, the life I'm building lacks meaning. So I find splendor in the process of building resilience, yes, because although I can't control the outcome of my life, I can craft my character through every experience. With my Saturn return in Aries, I do find myself being propelled through a portal of change. It might not be evident yet, but I have been committing to a different version of myself, and I feel these gusts of actualization snapping me into focus. I've been on a very specific grind ever since my Saturn return began. At this point, it's not that I will change, but that I am actively metamorphosing every day. This transit is actually what ignited me to pack my whole life up, stuff it into a sedan, and move across the country back to my home state of California. Now that Saturn is pretty much on top of my return degree, I can especially feel him pressing on me even more. And I know that it's time to practice the art of beginning again, which is hard and uncomfortable. Especially because recently I've been hanging out in a very embryonic, developmental cocoon stage of change. I've been recovering, adjusting, and building slowly. Nothing is rushed. I think that's the lesson with Saturn in Aries. We have to go at a pace that makes sense for us, because when we can take things slow and steady, we allow ourselves to build capacity and we can experience life as it is. So I've been taking my time as I've been adjusting to some life-altering new beginnings. A year ago, I was in a completely different state, literally. And now I'm back home. I'm feeling comfortable and confident in my relationships, routines, my home life. And it's funny because I had so much fear around my goals, but I still did what I could to approach them. And now I'm in a space where I feel safe enough to create even more and dream even bigger. So now that I found a little bit more of my footing after the move, I am focusing on, okay, well, what's next? Where can I go? And how can I start? Because I know it's time to take more disciplined action. I don't feel shame about my pace, because I think part of starting with what you've got is acknowledging what your capacity is, what your pace is, what's realistic for you now. I think oftentimes we want to begin things and have everything go off without a hitch and skyrocket to success. And we imagine ourselves in these fantastical scenes instead of grounding our expectations to what is actually achievable. The truth of the matter is you can only go as fast as you can. So go at a pace that works for you, because it's not up to anyone else to project onto you what your timeline should be, or to tell you that you can only have a good life if X, Y, and Z requirements are met. We all live and lead different lives, and it's up to you to define for yourself what is worth the investment and when you want to invest. Now that I'm coming out of a period of rest, it is kind of funny to reflect on how frustrated I've been through most of it, because it was such a necessary pause and time of reflection for me. I'm grateful that I'm at a place where I'm content with where my life is at, while also being focused enough to be able to look ahead and determine where it is that I want to go next. I think it's a beautiful thing to accept where you are and also be balanced with the knowing that you have to go somewhere. And you can shape that somewhere by just acknowledging with where you're at, well, what is it that you want to see, experience, feel? For me now, I'm beginning or re-entering a period of self-expression. There are a few different goals I'm working at, slowly but surely, of course, diligently. But I think the biggest, most full circle change in my life has been my return to art. After years of being detached from it, the thing that I valued most as a child, I finally feel safe enough to return to it. I got some paint for Christmas and started painting again. And then shortly after that, my friend invited us out to an art show. And I just remember leaving and feeling so full and so inspired. The spark in me was fully ignited again. And for the first time in a long time, I could see myself as an artist. Perception is everything. What you see in yourself and what you believe of yourself will eventually shape what you inevitably become. Feeling that shift in identity, where suddenly I was able to re-identify with being an artist or being a creative person, an aspect of myself that I had shut off when I went into survival mode. That shift in perspective enabled me to start making different decisions. And those decisions have compounded on each other to where now we're at a point where 6 months later from that initial moment of reignition, and I'm working my first commission, as well as my art business as a whole. Also, beginnings exist in cycles, so don't beat yourself up if you're not in a season of starting. Again, this goes with going at your own pace and building your capacity. There are beginnings, endings, and also transitional periods in between. So if all you have right now at your resource is a thought, and all you can do is work your thought and belief towards a goal, but you don't really have any of the necessary tools to move forward in a material way, well, then you need to move forward in your thoughts in the way that you're processing and perceiving something as you navigate your ending or transitional period. And then when you get to that season of beginning, those seeds will flourish. But if you are at a place where your will and your belief has met a moment of agitation and you're thinking, well, it's time to take off, it's time to do something, act before it's perfect. Just do it with intention. When you're ready to begin anything in this life, you need to first identify what it is that you want, and then what it is that is available to you. So for example, when I realized I was ready to move home, I was tired of the Midwest, that was what I wanted. And the first thing that was available to me was to start downsizing my apartment, was to get rid of the sofa. I didn't know how everything was going to play out, but I knew that the first step was going to be to pack. In any capacity, in any world, in any realm, the first step is to start packing. So I had to start downsizing and donating things. Now, the second step to beginning is to surrender to the outcome, because you just don't know. You don't know how it's going to materialize. You don't know who you're going to meet. You don't know how they're going to impact you. You don't know what guidance is going to come in. You don't know what information is going to pop up. You don't know what opportunities are going to materialize. So surrender to the outcome. And then 3, move with intention. Everything in this life with intention. You have to have a motive. And then 4, accept your pace. You can only go as fast as you can. Why beat yourself up and feel shame when you still, whatever it is that you're building it within a system. Can you acknowledge that? Can you acknowledge that there are literal systemic restraints on you, and you can literally only go as fast as you can, especially in a society that is built to extract from you instead of support you? So accept your pace, babes. And then just repeat. If you fail, if you stop, whatever. Failure is a perception that is projected by others. You never fail because you always have the opportunity to get back up and try again. So the beauty about beginning is that you can always begin again. You can always start again. We always have the ability to begin something new. We just have to ask ourselves what it is that we want and what it is that we have that we can use to get to where we're trying to go. Where is it that we can start? Thank you for watching today's video. My name is Janae Montrese, and I will chat with you guys soon. Bye!